against me. I was 450 pounds. Come on, y'all thought I wanted to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and go to the gym? Nah, it takes me a while to get to that happy place. So I was taking pills, I was taking energy drinks, and then throughout the day, I would take more energy drinks because I wanted to maintain that level of craziness, whatever you want to call it.
There's this movie with George Clooney in it. He's interviewing this man for a position in his company. He asks the question, he says, why does kids like sports players? The guy answers, because they screw lingerie models. George Clooney says, no, that's why we like sports players. But why do kids like sports players? He quickly corrects the guy, says, no, the reason kids love athletes is because they follow their dreams. The guy across from the table from George Clooney's like, well, I can't dunk. And George Clooney's like, well, you can cook. The guy then across the table says, what are you talking about? George Clooney says, your resume says you minored in French and culinary arts. Then George Clooney goes on to say, he goes, most students, fry chicken at KFC, flip burgers or fries at McDonald's to put themselves through college. But you worked at a very fancy restaurant. And then he asks the question, how much did they pay you to forget your dreams? Which then he replies, $27,000 a year. George Clooney says, most people work their whole lives at a company, punching in, day out, unhappy because they never followed their dreams. So I ask you the same question. Are you unhappy? Are you following your dreams? Do you need to rekindle something from the past that used to drive you and excite you? Think about it. We're on a path of self-discovery. If I had not hit a bottom in my life, which gave me a new perspective on life, I would have not followed my dreams.
Hi. What's up?
Today we are at the We Are One recovery event, obviously.
Obviously.
Man, you guys' booth is awesome.
Thank you. Megan.
What are your thoughts on being happy in life?
Happy. Well, my moniker is Buddha, right? Have you heard of the sad Buddha? Nah, it doesn't exist. It's always the happy Buddha. You know what I'm saying? Energy, vibes, number positive vibes.
Sacrifice?
No, don't sacrifice the quality of life. Yeah, I know everybody talking about, I want to sacrifice this. Like, no, don't sacrifice the quality of your life. Live it. Yeah. Live it.
Let's ask Casey what he thinks about this whole topic we're on right now. What do you think?
So here's the deal, at 45, I had to sit down and ask myself what I really wanted, who I wanted to be. For the longest time, I wanted to be who you wanted me to be. And I did everything I could to make you happy. Even if you didn't like me, I wanted you to like me. And I would work hard and tirelessly for you to like me, just because I wanted to get liked. And then at 45, I had everything that I worked so hard for taken away from me. And then I had to figure out what life wanted to be. And I think that was the first time that I ever sat down and said, who do I want to be? What do I want to be? And now how do I get it? And so I guess it would be safe to say, if you're sitting in a job that you don't like, if you're living a life that's unfilled, how do you get that? It's the same way you get sober. One step at a time, one day at a time, and move yourself in that direction.
Two of them live here in the state of Utah. If you go around the country, hardly any stations want to do feature reporting. They only want to do hard news. So when people from out of state come to our state and they see the kind of stuff that we're doing, we always get this. In Utah? Wait, you guys have, first off, y'all got colored people on TV? That's what I always get. Wait, are you on a weather release program in Utah that they allow you to be on TV, like the brown guy? You're the brown guy, are you allowed to be on TV? I would get that all the time. I am so blessed. I'm so grateful. But the pressures, as I've been talking about it, I would try. I was 450 pounds. That was the other thing that was going for me, the strike that was going against me. I was 450 pounds. Come on, y'all. Y'all thought I wanted to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and go to the gym? Nah, it takes me a while to get to that happy place. So I was taking pills, I was taking energy drinks, and then throughout the day, I would take more energy drinks because I wanted to maintain that level of craziness, whatever you want to call it. I couldn't allow myself to dip until I got home. And then when I get home, Dad, come on, get the hell away from me. I'm tired. I gotta get ready for the show next week, tomorrow. And then what happened is they would add more shows. They would add more stuff. And because we're radio guys, guess what we would say? Pile it on. I can do it. I'll just take another pill. I'll just take another energy drink. I'll do whatever it takes. Alcohol was difficult for me, Case, just because of the smell, and my mom couldn't handle it. So the mental health slowly creeped in to my mind and the way that I was doing things, because I started to see that stuff at home. I go home and I'm like, wait, how come you don't love me the way those people love me? I said, I just did a remote for them, for Mickey Couture. They love me. How come you don't love me? Because you're a shitty dad. you don't want to talk to me. So all of that comes in, the pressures of being on TV. I couldn't handle it. I don't like to share the date, but one day I got tired of it. Our ratings are well. I don't know about Facebook, but I try not to look at the ratings because it just messes your mind up. That you're not being accepted enough, or your likes on your pages aren't happening enough. So I drove out to Wendover. I pulled over on the side. Now mind you, I had already been built up in my mind that I wanted to commit suicide. But I was afraid that I didn't want my wife to catch me. I didn't want my sons or my daughters. I was like, what if I cut myself? Shit, I'm gonna bleed all over the place. I don't want them to clean that up. Okay, what about if I hung myself? I hang myself. Oh, fuck. I'm still 200 plus pounds. They're gonna have to cut me down. At the church, shit. I had all these things going through my mind. So I jumped in the Buddha-mobile, and I figured, they're gonna find me in this because, shit, that thing is loud as hell. They'll find me anyway. I drive out to Wendover. Pull over to the side of the road. I have a friend's gun, it's a 38. I have one bullet. It's loaded in the chamber. I'm thinking about all these things. I'm gonna do a video, I'm gonna say goodbye. And then the better part of me said, nah, fuck it, just take the shot. I put it up to my head, I pull the trigger, it jams. Fuck. It's a gut check. It's a gut check like nothing else. Are you about that life? You really want to do it? Go ahead, recop that motherfucker, do it again. Let me see, you got balls? No, it all goes away. In that instant, reality hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like a little girl crying my ass off. I didn't know what was going on. I got up, I threw the gun out of the trunk, and I just cried. I was there for maybe another 3 hours. A friend of mine, who is a highway patrolman, was driving by, saw me, pulled over. His name was Porty. Porty pulled me over. I was already pulled over. He pulled over to talk to me because he saw the truck. We had a nice conversation. He took me to the casino. He bought me dinner, and I went home. That whole ride home, that 90 minutes driving back, I wanted to stop off. I wanted to find the gun. I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. Part of my journey, I have to be honest with you, growing up LDS, my dad was a 70, was a high-ranking position in the church back in the 70s and the 80s. This is before we went to Samoa. We were living in Cant, California, and my dad was called into this new position called the 70. We were tasked with going around South Central LA and the Watts area and establishing or putting together black Sunday schools or black branches. So our family was tasked with showing our black brothers and sisters how the church was supposed to be facilitated. You know, youth, primary, this is how you say prayer. I mean, it freaked me out because, you know, I was born and raised in the Mormon church, so I'm sitting there, I am a child. Damn right you are, hallelujah you are, praise the Lord, yes you are, go ahead and sing that. And I'm like, are we allowed to sing that? I'm like, I'm not really sure, can you sing that? So it was a growing experience, but here's the thing that messed me up, right? I didn't fully understand that my dad was human. I didn't fully understand that this dude is fallible. All the stuff he kept telling me, right? This is the level we need you to be at. This is the kind of woman I need you to be. But as a kid, I saw that my dad was right here, right? He was doing stuff down here. I'm gonna tell this story because I think it's important and I think it happens a lot. You know, in LDS families, I can only tell you my stories. This is my experience. I'm about 9 years old. We're living in Cant, California. My job when I come home from school is grab the mail. So I want to grab the mail. I look at the mail. It's a Playboy magazine. Oh shit! That's my dad's name on it. So check this out. This is how much of a good son I am, and I know you guys would have done the same thing. I say to myself, my older brother Larry, freaking Larry. The balls on this guy to order a Playboy magazine and dad's, oh shit, I'm gonna tell dad, we're watching a wait. I march into the old man's room, my dad's on the bed. He said, Dad, you're not gonna believe what Larry did. He ordered a Playboy magazine with your name on it. He said, give me a minute. Pop, 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 he beats me up. How many times I tell you, don't touch the mail. Just grab the mail and bring it. He kicks me out of the room, I'm crying because he just beat the shit out of me. And I'm like, nothing. I thought, why is he so, oh, he's gonna get my brother. Nothing happened. It doesn't hit me till years later. This is where I start to get jacked up. I'm like, oh shit, that's my dad's magazine. Oh shit. Oh my gosh. He was looking at pornography. He was in a high level of the church. Right? So that kind of messed me up. Here he is telling me to maintain this level when he couldn't even live it. Now here I am an adult, I'm part of the club, and I'm like, bruh, you had all the chance. You could have told somebody that you were messing your kids up. You had every opportunity to tell somebody that you were beating your son senseless, that you gave him those scars at a church school. Yeah, I'm in the back. My dad beats me up, and it's not over. I got 100 kids outside of the church building trying to get into the room. My dad's going to town. I've been fighting grown-ass men since I was 9, y'all. Aunties, uncle, beating the shit out of me. This guy is at a Mormon school beating me up inside. They're trying to get in. My dad's a monster. He's 6'5", 600 pounds at the time, and I wish I were making it up. He says to me, son, sit down. I'm gonna catch my breath. When I catch my breath, I'm gonna finish it. So I'm sitting in the back. This dude's walking back and forth. There's desks over here. One of the desks has one of those mini pulpits. I'm sure y'all seen it. That you can move from desk to desk. In case my man picks it up, he goes, wow. Throws it. Now I'm in the back, and I see the damn thing twirling towards me, and I'm like, shit. Seriously, it slowed down for me, and all I could say was, this thing coming, it hits me in the head and picks me back to the bulletin board. That's how much force my dad threw that shit at me. And now I'm stuck to the bulletin board. This guy, without hesitation, walks over, grabs one end, cocks it like an axe, and I fall down. I don't remember anything. I wake up, bright light next to the doctor, and my dad says to me, the police wants to come and interview you. If you tell them what happened, I go to jail. What the hell am I supposed to do? Right, you're a kid. Doctor, police come back without a Trump fill on my head. Just like that. All of that came to a head at Wendover. I couldn't handle the pressures of trying to keep up being this happy-go-lucky guy, right? Now, Casey will tell you too, it's not that it's outside of who we are, it's an extension of who we are. But I gotta tell you, man, as Robin Williams, nobody can be that happy 24 hours a day, man. Somebody gotta recharge. So sometimes people ask me when I'm at Walmart, I'm shopping with my family, you know, they say, I do my very best to say hi because they don't know what I'm going through. They don't have to know what I'm going through. But sometimes people catch me on the wrong day. You know, my wife said something bad, my kid said something bad. I'm not the happy-go-lucky guy that you guys see on TV. And so I think the pressures of trying to be on all the time just ate at me. And I couldn't afford to lose the job. The job was everything to me because it was a way for me to come up out of obscurity, to come out of to have financial independence, right? To do something. I mean, people talk about, I'm gonna say it, people talk about white privilege. I don't know what that is. Maybe I got a taste of it being on TV, but I know things are afforded to me because I work on television and because the job I do. So I don't know, maybe that's a form. You know, Casey, I'm sure you've had this. I'll stand in a long line and 2 or 3 people will go out of their way to come and tell me, bro, you don't belong here. You should go all the way to the front. That never works. No, it never works. I have prided myself never to say those things like, don't you know who I am? That shit does not work. We're famous in Utah. What is that? Nothing. That's nothing. So what I'm saying to y'all, the pressures of trying to be on, you guys are already dealing with it. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, we're all fighting for these likes.